What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Just hours away from this year's WWE Draft Night 1. Just one major component to tonight's big SmackDown show. Of course, the co-headliner is the big contract signing tonight. Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. Title on the line next Saturday night. Backlash. Feels like just yesterday was WrestleMania 40. We're already talking about Backlash next weekend, but that is a big contract signing tonight. But that's not what everybody wants to talk about, Cody Rhodes. Everybody's attention is on the draft, of course. So that's what we're going to talk about in this upload. I do have this year's rules. WWE has confirmed the rules. There's been some tweaks, so we're going to talk about them. There's also eligible draft pools for Friday and Monday. Certain talent is available for Friday and certain talent is available for Monday. And apparently they're not going to crisscross. So you can only pick from the pool of the night. We'll go over which talent is in which pool. We're also going to talk some wild cards. There's some individuals that are on the current WWE roster, Raw and SmackDown, and they are not in any of these draft pools. We'll talk about why that is and why they're even on the roster as we speak. So there's a lot to go over. Monday Night Raw is a mess with a lot of injuries and not a lot of star power, not equal to SmackDown. So we're going to have to talk that as well. There's a lot to get into. A little bit of a mock draft as well. I don't usually like to do these things, but I'll tell you where BC would flip some superstars around where it makes the most sense. So without any further ado, let's talk about it. Best place to start is obviously the rules. So this is this year's WWE Draft rules, confirmed, put out there by WWE. On SmackDown, there will be 4 rounds, 16 total picks. On Raw, there will be 6 rounds, 24 total picks. Champions on each brand are protected. Women's tag team champions are eligible. SmackDown will pick first on Friday. Raw will pick first on Monday. The rosters will officially lock on Monday, May 6th. That is the post-Backlash show. That's because they do have, obviously, house shows they're running. They have the big PLE in France next week. They don't want to confuse anybody. So, or at least any more than they already are confused. So they are going to lock these rosters May 6th. That is the rules. And they're already doing a good job to confuse us because, as I understand it, there's going to be 2 separate draft pools. Friday night we'll have a group that you can choose from, and Monday we'll have an entirely separate group of eligibility in which you can choose from. So basically, Friday night tonight is going to have 30 WWE talents eligible that you can pick from, 30 tonight. Monday, even though they're only 1 extra hour of television, they're going to double that at nearly 60 individuals, 59 eligible to pick from on Monday night's pool. And both nights, that is not including NXT add-ons, by the way. So it's going to be more than 30 eligible tonight and more than 60 on Monday night. But that's a steep contrast from Monday and SmackDown in eligibility. 30 more individuals plus on Monday night. So as I'm gathering it, as I see it, basically tonight, if you want somebody like Gunther, Tiffany Stratton, Rey Mysterio, maybe you want Candice LeRae for some reason, or Jade Cargill, you cannot pick any of them tonight. Because that's what they're telling us, right? Friday's available draft pool is, you can choose from anybody from AJ Styles to Seth Rollins to Sheamus to Gallows and Anderson, Zoe Stark to Randy Orton, anybody in Alpha Academy, Andrade, Bianca Belair, Ricochet, Nia Jax, Ivar, Solo Sikoa. Maybe you want him to hit 50 losses in a row. He's already at 40 losses in a row. Maybe Solo will hit 50 on Monday Night Raw. All kidding aside, one of the biggest name in tonight's draft pool is Roman Reigns. That's massive. And again, if you look at the rules, SmackDown gets the first pick tonight. You got to believe Roman's not really going anywhere. it looks like Roman will stay. I mean, if you look at this pool, who would you draft? Oh, who would you draft over Roman? I mean, you're not going Seth. Much respect to AJ Styles. You're not going to pick Nia Jax over Roman. It's funny that Paul Heyman is a talent in this, just like he was last year. You have to. Paul Heyman is so good at what he does that as a manager, this dude is. You have to draft him. Is there other managers like that? Zelina's a wrestler, so you can't even. Scarlett is Scarlett even in this? Or is it just Karrion Kross? But, I mean, Scarlett at least wrestles from time to time, too, so I wouldn't... I don't even see where Karrion Kross is. Anybody see Karrion Kross? Is he in the Monday pool? Where's Karrion Kross at? Well, the point is, man, you got Paul Heyman. He's his own eligibility. You have to pick Paul Heyman. You have to go out and draft Paul Heyman. That's respect, bro. But in all seriousness, Roman Reigns, man, you got to believe he's the number one pick, right? Because the champions are locked in, so you don't have to pick Cody Rhodes or anybody like that. You cannot touch somebody like Gunther or... where's the other? Not even a Rey Mysterio. LA Knight. Where's LA Knight? Is he on Monday's pool? Gotta try to find LA Knight now. Where's LA Knight? LA Knight is on tonight's pool. Oof. I mean, I guess Nick Aldis, he does have beef with the bloodline. So maybe just in spite, maybe he doesn't want Roman anymore. Maybe it's the ultimate slap in the face to Roman if he chooses Seth Rollins, right? Rollins is oddly in tonight's pool. So maybe it's like a slap in the face. Maybe that will start the storyline, and that will, or it already started at WrestleMania. Seth Rollins and Roman is going to go again in the future. Maybe this is another layer to that. Another slap in the face could be if he chooses like LA Knight, I guess. But anyway, that's huge, man. 2 separate draft pools. That changes everything. Now, I want to jump into the individual rosters as they stand right now, because this also tells a huge story. Monday Night Raw and SmackDown, and this is odd because Raw does have an extra hour, but Monday Night Raw shares the same amount of talent as SmackDown. They each have 53 superstars on their current roster. That is not including commentators or straight-up managers. Actual in-ring talent. Raw has 53 active on the roster. SmackDown has 53 active. Raw, however, is much more of a mess. When you look at injury status, for instance, there is 5 big injuries on Monday Night Raw, at least for their roster. Braun Strowman, CM Punk, Seth Rollins, Raquel Rodriguez, and Eric of the Vikings. So, okay, you say, well, Strowman, not really needed right now, BC, and Eric, I think they'll be just fine. By the way, congratulations to Eric and Van Halen, as I call her, Van Hala, Sarah Logan. They announced that they are going to be having a little one soon, right? So congratulations to them. Eric will be out even longer, obviously. And now Van Halen, my favorite band, one of my favorite bands, they're also going to be on a long hiatus. But it is not an injury. They're having a little one. So congratulations to Sarah Logan and Eric. But back onto this injury list for Raw. There's some big hitters here, man. CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and for the ladies, Raquel Rodriguez. And you have a draft. So if you're going to draft any of them, you have to take, just like in any sport, you would think, all right, what's their injury history? I mean, I'm going to draft them and they're not even ready to perform today, tomorrow, next week, or maybe even next month. If you're like Punk and Rollins, it's going to be many months. So the injury report for Monday Night Raw is something to look at. There's a lot of significant injuries, but even bigger is the wild cards, right? These are the ones that I look at and I say, how are they even on the roster? Or I forgot they were even on the roster. Like Apollo Crews, because there's 4 wild cards on Monday Night Raw. Apollo Crews, I truly forgot that he was even on the roster. Forget Raw, SmackDown. Once in a while, they bring him back to NXT for a little while. And it's all forgettable. It all leads to nothing, unfortunately. I like Apollo, good dude. But damn, you forget he's on the roster, any roster. But he's on the Raw roster, at least as of now. I don't know anybody in their right dome piece that would draft this dude. They've made him so irrelevant, it would be like wasting a draft pick. Then you have Odyssey Jones. Most of the pro wrestling world is still trying to figure out what an Odyssey Jones even is. And somehow he's taking up a massive roster spot on Monday Night Raw. You're releasing Cameron Grimes, but Odyssey Jones somehow has a spot. And again, we don't even know what that is. How about Dexter Lumis? A lot of people don't realize he is on the current Monday Night Raw roster as it sits right now. And Dexter Lumis has not been seen in months. No injury that we're hearing of. In fact, he's been looking better than ever in the gym, ready to get back to work. But just like Cameron Grimes just admitted, Grimes has been saying for months he's been asking to get back in the ring and to do more and just to get back to work. And Paul Levesque McMahon has given the writers no green light for Cameron Grimes, and eventually he just got cut. We are hearing now for months that Dexter Lumis, they just have nothing for him. So I don't know how drafting him anywhere, keeping him on Raw or taking him over to SmackDown, I don't know how that's going to help Dexter Lumis right now. He needs Paul Levesque McMahon to desperately give a flying iota that he's even there. And then you have Trish Stratus. Yes! A lot of you guys are like, BC, what are you talking about? There's no way. You must be looking at the alumni section, BC. No. I mean, after tonight, a lot of people might be moved to alumni. But Trish Stratus has been on the active Monday Night Raw roster. I don't think you guys understand. The last time you saw Trish many moons ago, many months ago, that was not the end of her WWE deal. She has been getting paid. She has been on the active roster. That's not a mistake. They didn't forget to remove her and put her in the alumni. She has been a part of Monday Night Raw. Just, they haven't had anything for her. They brought her in for WrestleMania. She was going to do something big at WrestleMania. They decided last minute to hold off. They were going to do a couple of things around the Royal Rumble, decided to hold off. So it's like they're keeping Trish. It's not necessarily a Legends deal. It's an actual contracted talent deal with the company, but it's just kind of like when we need you, when we want to use you, we'll call you. And until then, sit at home, collect a fat payday. But the point is, Trish Stratus, what happens to her after this draft? You're going to have to move her somewhere, and I don't see Trish. I mean, there's a lot of people in these pools. Maybe you guys can point her out, but I don't see Trish Stratus in either one of these draft pools. So after tonight, do they have no choice but to place her in the alumni? Or does she go into where Brock Lesnar and what's his name? Omos and a few others. Von Wagner was there for a while before he just got released. It's the free agent section. And for some reason, Omos, because nobody drafted him last year, but he stayed with the company, they put him in the free agent category. Same with Wagner and Lesnar and maybe one other individual. I guess Trish would have to go there because she wouldn't be alumni. But anyway, that's what I mean about wild card. There's people on these rosters, guys, that it's befuddling that they're even still on the roster. And wait till we get over to SmackDown. Wait till you hear a name that I'm going to drop that you guys are going to be like, I haven't heard that name in the longest. She's still on the roster? She's still getting paid by WWE? That's right. And not a Legends deal. She's an actual talent for WWE. You just haven't seen her since 1941, basically. Slight exaggeration. But we'll get to that in a second. I'm not quite done with Raw yet. First, I just want to talk Raw's current situation with faces, right? It's clear that Raw is lacking top faces. Cody Rhodes was their one big dude, right? And now he's on SmackDown as their champion. So now you look to CM Punk, right? But CM Punk is injured. He's going to be out for several more months, bare minimum. So your second biggest top face is also gone. Cody is switching brands, already did. CM Punk is sitting home, has no choice. So you go to your third biggest dude, Seth Rollins. We know Rollins is taking time off. Several weeks bare minimum, and we believe several months. A lot of nagging injuries, and maybe some that were even more severe we didn't know about. But Rollins is out for months. So who do you turn to? Who? Is it Jey Uso? Is that really the top guy on Raw? That is a mega problem, and that's where they have to focus for this draft. They have to get a mega face. And this is where when we play the little mock draft, right, I'm going to switch a few people. It's going to be a short mock draft. I'm going to switch some people around. And I'm going to tell you guys why this makes the most sense. So I'll get to that in a few minutes. But Monday Night Raw needs to be focusing. Just like any NFL team with the draft. If you need a left tackle, that's where you're going to be focusing on. If it's going to be a wide receiver that's going to get you over that hump, you need to zone in on a wide receiver. If you are Raw, you need that top babyface. You're a 3-hour show, and you are lacking big right now with faces. Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, unfortunately, they've been booked mid-card. Right? They're just going for mid-card titles. They're winning or even losing mid-card title matches. So as much as we love Sami and Kevin Owens, that's not Cody Rhodes. It's not a CM Punk. But we'll talk that when we do the mock draft in a couple of minutes. First, over to SmackDown. I want to look at their roster. They have 3 wild cards. The first being, of course, Roman Reigns. We talked about him a little bit. Roman Reigns has to be the first pick. There's no way that they can overlook Reigns unless it's part of a storyline. Nick Aldis wants nothing to do with him. A slap in the face, and he goes for Seth Rollins. It would make sense. You're going to Netflix. Maybe they want to really shake it up and bring Roman Reigns over to the red brand. But that's a wild card, just like for the ladies, Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair is going to be back way before you guys expected. She could have done something at Mania, which is what she wanted to do, but they thought it best to not even make the stroll down the aisle. But if you see her in the gym and what she is telling us in interviews, she's imminent with that injury. And now it's a case of, does Nick Aldis even flinch at the thought of losing her? Or is it no harm, no foul? It's time to move on and Charlie goes red brand. You got to believe that wherever Andrade ends up, you got to believe that's where Charlotte will be, right? So if Andrade is going to move over blue, then Charlie's going to stand still. Where if Andrade stays red, that's the time for Charlie to move then. But those are 2 wild cards. Those are the big ones that Vince McMahon truly catapulted to the top of his company. And when Vince took off, Paul Levesque McMahon has shown you that he truly loves Charlotte and Roman Reigns just as much, if not more, than Vince. So those are 2 wild cards. And the third is somebody just like Trish Stratus on the Raw roster. This lady is on the SmackDown roster, and I don't know why. I don't know how. And that is Tamina. Tamina is on the current roster for SmackDown. We haven't seen her in the longest time. So there's obviously many reasons for this, right? Some people just say it's because she's the Rock's she's the Rock's cousin. And others believe that it's because of Jimmy Superfly Snuka and the relationship that he had with McMahon, and McMahon basically bestowed a forever job on Tamina. So Tamina will always be employed by the company. That is a real thing that it has made its rounds in the wrestling world, and I gotta believe that is absolutely truth. Because even Nia Jax has been released. Of course, she got brought back, but even she was released at one point. Tamina is done, basically. We heard many months ago, maybe years, I forgot when it was, but we heard that she was basically quietly retiring. But WWE kept her on the payroll. All of these individuals have been released since, right? The Mickie Jameses and so many others. But Tamina has a forever job. Well, that's fine and dandy, but when you have a draft, now what happens to Tamina? Does she just sit there on the blue brand like nothing? There was a whole draft that happened, and nothing happened to Tamina. She got to sit right there. A hurricane just went through the town, but the little shop that you were in remained untouched. The whole town is leveled, and you just walk out of the shop with your new bakery items. You're eating a cookie and a Slurpee. Whoa, this is a mess. Tamina, a whole draft tornado happens around her, and she just sits there on the blue brand. Or do they move her to the free agent category? The only problem with that is she's not a free agent. She doesn't wrestle anymore. She's basically retired. So just like Trish Stratus, I mean, these are weird spots being filled on the current roster. When people are getting released, budget cuts, people are taking up spots and not doing a damn thing but sitting on their couch. Well, now it's the draft. Everything is being shook up. Everybody should be eligible. I'm not seeing Tamina Snuka. Let me do a quick... Maybe there's a Tamina Snuka. Maybe she's going to come back after this draft, right? They finally said, oh, wait, Tamina, we gotta make it look like you're like doing something. I don't see Tamina at all in these drafts. But guys, she is on the current SmackDown roster. She just is. Not alumni, not the free agent list. So that's something that needs to be talked about. These are the uploads to talk about it. There's a draft happening, and certain people on the roster don't even have to be eligible. They don't have to move. Wild, man. And then you look at the faces over in SmackDown. You know, you have LA Knight. These are the ones that are accessible to Raw. I said they needed faces. Well, you have LA Knight available. You have Randy Orton available. Rollins, Punk, injured. Cody is now on SmackDown. LA Knight, Randy Orton. Dude, if you want to do a mock draft, let's do a mock draft. BC will tell you who he's sending over to Monday Night Raw. Tiffany Stratton. She needs to be the face of the red brand. Only so much you're going to be able to do. I love how they catapulted her to this title match in France. The way she is received in other countries is top notch, and she belongs in that title match. She should not be winning it. There's no harm, no foul in this loss. Sometimes there's victory and defeat. Tiffany Stratton should lose this match. Bayley should walk out as champion. Sorry, Naomi, by the way. Love Naomi. But Tiffany Stratton in this match, beautiful, does her part, go to that next level, and then she goes over to the Raw brand, where she truly begins to carve it up. Tiffany Stratton, if I am Adam Pearce and I got the pick, I'm not saying it's my first pick, but one of... Tiffany Stratton is going over to Monday Night Raw. That is without question. And by the way, I'm also sending Jade Cargill. If she's available and I have the pick, Jade Cargill is going over to the red brand as well. I feel that on a 3-hour show where no matter what they do with her, when people say she's too green, she can only have a 2-minute match, this and that, on a 3-hour show, no harm, no foul. There's so much other stuff going on. You can really implement her on some cool stuff that people will be much more okay with. Jade Cargill needs to be on the red brand as well. So Tiffany Stratton, Jade Cargill, 2 big female stars that have to go red. If you're looking at the blue brand getting some big stars, I'm going to the dudes. I'm going Gunther. Gunther has to make the switch over to the blue brand. And in the near future, we got to set it up. Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. I told you guys enough having Gunther mingle around with the mid-card title and the mid-carders. No more Gunther versus Tozawa, Gunther versus Bronson Reed or Ricochet. It is now time for Gunther versus Randy Orton, Gunther versus Seth Rollins, Gunther versus Cody Rhodes. It's time for those matches. Gunther's ready for them. And I think if you really want to set that off the right way, right? Set the tone and fire on all cylinders. You started off with a whole new change of pace, change in scenery, change of it all. Gunther goes blue. If I'm Nick Aldis and I have a pick and I know that Gunther is available, I'm definitely going Gunther over to the blue brand. If he's available to, at the time of my pick, Dragunov. Because if you got Gunther, you know you're going to sell a lot of tickets and capture a lot of eyeballs if you can get Gunther versus Dragunov. So that's another individual I would go blue in my mock draft. I actually have Orton staying on the blue brand as well. I still think so many cool interactions need to be done with Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton. So much more story to tell with them together, them against one another, whichever. Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes, so much more to tell. I got Randy staying there. I have Roxy. I honestly have Roxy as much as I would love to see her on Monday nights. I just see her in this awesome feud down the road with Bayley. And and I see it on the blue brand. I see it on SmackDown. So Roxy would just have to go blue brand. I would want her on Raw, but it's not the right decision. I believe blue brand is the place. I'm also looking at Dominik Mysterio's pick. We were talking injuries earlier. I got word earlier, I'm going to get some confirmation on this, but it was pretty reputable that Dominik's injury is not just real, but it's Tommy John surgery that he's going to end up getting, which is going to take this dude out for like a year, 9 months to a year up front. It's all depending on how your rehab's going and all of that good stuff. But we wish Dominik the very best. I'm going to get confirmation on that, but that is not good. So whoever drafts Dominik, you got to believe nobody is going to, right? You got to know he's out for a year. You're basically wasting a draft pick, unfortunately. So, but we do wish Dominik the very best, obviously. And then there's people that have nothing going for them. So a switch is kind of needed, but is that going to do anything, right? Shayna Baszler, for instance, going over to... where was Shayna? Is she Raw? I don't even know anymore. Yeah, sending her to SmackDown. Will that do anything? She's already been on SmackDown 4 different times. Never did a thing. Somebody like Bronson Reed going to SmackDown. Or Ivar going to SmackDown. Will that move the needle for them or the company? Candice LeRae, Indy Hartwell going to SmackDown. Or Fire and Dawn going to Raw. Gargano, Ciampa, Shinsuke Nakamura. You move them all over to the blue brand, but unless you're investing in them creatively, then you're just moving around puzzle pieces for no reason. You're just moving puzzle pieces around, and when it's time to move on, you're trying to stuff them wherever you would like them to be. But those puzzle pieces are not going to go there. They don't fit there. You have to find where they fit and make sure that they are delivered into that spot properly. That's the trick in all of this, is don't just move people for the sake of moving them or just for a change in scenery, right? Make sure that you're moving them with a plan in place. Oh, I'm going to move Gargano and Ciampa over to the blue brand, and that's where their feud together will really ignite. Or once they hit the blue brand, that's where they really find themselves as a tag team. You know, things like that. Have a reason behind every move that they make in this draft is what we're asking WWE to do. That's what I got for you guys, man. Like I said, that's a lot of discussion. We could go another hour, 2 hours on this too. But it's a lot of moving parts. It's a lot of fun. It is. You know, these shakeups are fun. You just hope that WWE honors them. A lot of years, most years, they do these drafts, they do these brand shakeups, and within weeks, you're seeing people cross over to the other brand, and they're not even honoring it. So it's like, all right, it's basically just a free-for-all again. No reasoning, no excuse as to why this person is showing up. It's just because they decided to do it. So you really want it to be honored, and that way when you go to like a Survivor Series or at an event where these brands are going to go at it, it's much more fun because you truly feel like they're separate entities. Until next time, and there will be that next time, the SmackDown review within the next 24 hours, so stay locked on the channel, and we will rock out that review amplified. Top guys, we are out. BC in the unit.